Let's start your Friday, 5 a.m. with a live look outside right now at downtown Denver, TGIF. Today, warming up to close to 70 degrees, even warmer into next week. We're going to have the details in just a moment. Thanks for joining us. I'm Corey Rose.
And I'm Sam Shocker. Jada Knowles will get to your forecast in just a few minutes, and we're excited about that Mother's Day forecast. We deserve it. But first, let's send things over to Brianna Fernandez, who's tracking a traffic impact alert right now. Brianna.
Hey, good morning, guys. Happy Friday. Right now, we do have that traffic impact alert in place. It looks like 270 for anyone heading eastbound near Vasquez. This area has been shut down for about an hour now. We have been seeing crews there on scene. It looks like everyone's just having to get off on the nearest exit, which is Vasquez. Again, this is happening along eastbound I-270. It's unclear how many vehicles were involved or how long this closure will last. I am seeing significantly less crews out there than what we were seeing about 15 to 20 minutes ago. So let's switch things over to our main maps, kind of show you where this is all happening. So zooming into the Commerce City area, you're seeing that purple shaded area. So from Quebec to Vasquez is where we're seeing that closure. Right now, if you're heading eastbound, so from I-25, trying to get to I-70, you won't be able to because of that closure. Again, we've reached out to CSP, actually just sent them an email just to see if they can provide more information. But if you want to avoid this altogether, not get stuck behind that mess and then get off Vasquez, you can always head down south to I-25 and then head eastbound along I-70.
Well, Brianna, thank you. So far, we're talking about from snow to sunny conditions and warm temperatures. That's exactly what we're expecting once again this afternoon. Heading out the door this morning, temperatures on the mild side. We're in the mid to upper 40s, 47 degrees here in downtown Denver. Temperatures all across the state. You can see really warm over towards the eastern plains, the upper 40s, low 50s there, 30s and 40s across the high country, and then also the upper 40s for the western slope. So live radar, we are tracking a couple of isolated showers. We got lucky last night and got in on the action across the metro area. Noticing just northwest of Fort Collins there, we're seeing a little bit of snow flurries there and a mixture of rain, but for the most part, I really don't have a whole lot of precipitation in my forecast for this afternoon. So the next 12 hours, warming up nicely, getting up to the upper 60s, even some 70s out there today. It's going to feel really nice. Here's what we're tracking: warmer temperatures for your Mother's Day weekend, and then heading into next week, maybe even some 80s. We'll have more details about that later on in the show. Corey?
Jaden, thank you. Our top story this morning is the cyber attack hitting thousands of universities and schools across the nation.
Hackers targeting America's most widely used classroom software, Canvas, have potentially exposed the personal data of millions of students and educators. Most of Colorado's major universities are affected. 9 News reporter Courtney Yoon joins us live from the MSU Denver campus. Courtney, this is all happening during a critical time for a lot of students. Many of them have final exams right now.
Yes, that's right, Corey and Sam. It's causing a lot of disruptions for students, even those just trying to complete their homework. So Canvas was offline yesterday, but by late last night, most users were able to access the mobile app. So this is the screen that users saw when they tried to access the desktop version of Canvas yesterday. The company says it's used by more than 7,000 universities and schools. It's where they turn in some assignments. It's also where they disclose medical and mental health information to academic advisors, among other things. So here in Colorado, the University of Colorado, MSU Denver, CSU, DU, and UNC have all been affected. A criminal extortion group claimed responsibility for the attack, alleging they stole roughly 275 million records tied to students, teachers, and staff, and they threatened to leak some of that data if the ransom isn't paid by May 12th. So this isn't just college students. Millions of K through 12 students, teachers, faculty, and staff also rely on Canvas. So institutions are warning their students not to try to complete any assignments, be wary of any suspicious emails, and not to use Canvas until they know that it is safe to use. Live in Denver, Courtney Yoon, 9 News.
Courtney, thank you. The Denver police officer who shot and injured 2 minors outside a house party in Green Valley Ranch will not be charged. The DA's office said yesterday that it believes the officer was acting in self-defense. The story is complicated. Back in November, the officer responded to a report of a fight at a party on North Biscayne Court near East 51st. While he was on the street, the DA's office said he was approached by someone with a badge, a gun, and a radio claiming to be doing a, quote, sting. The officer said he thought the person was legitimate law enforcement, so he left. But he was called back there an hour later, and that's when the shooting took place. Officials say the person conducting the fake sting ran toward the officer, so the officer shot him. And as the officer fired more shots, he hit another minor in the backside. Both minors were hospitalized. The DA's office says both fired shots that night, and they say the officer's use of force was justified because it was in self-defense and in defense of others.
We've seen quite a few scams come through and cause confusion here in Colorado. Now Adams County is warning of another one. The sheriff's office says this time scammers are impersonating them, even spoofing their phone number. A person reported getting a fake warrant along with a phone call from someone claiming to be a sergeant. The caller demanded thousands of dollars to avoid being arrested. The sheriff's office says federal agencies would not issue warrants this way. You also wouldn't be sentenced to federal probation on a state case. And they say the fine amount is extremely excessive for a misdemeanor offense. If you get this and you aren't sure, give local law enforcement a call.
A train outage at Denver International Airport on Wednesday left travelers waiting in long lines, boarding buses, and rushing to make flights. Some people say they waited over an hour because of an outage. The disruption marked 131 system outage events over the past year. DIA told 9 News that roughly half of those outages were tied to the rollout of its new 300R train cars, which began entering service in 2024 as part of a modernization effort.
We're working very hard to increase that reliability. It's the reason that we ordered those new 300R cars. It's the reason that we're going into this revitalization program because reliability at an airport especially is paramount.
Officials said most outages last only minutes and maintain the system is still more than 99.9%. But they also told us Wednesday's issue was unlike anything they'd ever seen before. Airport officials say they will be conducting a review to see what they can do differently next time.
Some women will spend this Mother's Day in the immigration detention facility in Aurora, and advocates want to make sure they're not alone. The American Friends Service Committee held a vigil outside of the facility last night. It's something they do often, but last night they dedicated it to the mothers being held there.
Para mí es algo muy bonito. Yo le digo a estas personas que son como ángeles que están puestos en nuestros caminos, porque a veces uno como inmigrante a veces piensa que está solo.
So what we understand is they can hear us often and they can sometimes see us through the glass, and it's uplifting for them, and we want them to know that we believe that they are not alone and that we can stand with them.
The group asked people at the vigil to bring flowers. They placed them around a heart put down in corn with Mama spelled out.
Thursday, a federal judge heard arguments in a lawsuit over the Trump administration's plan to break up NCAR, the renowned weather lab in Boulder. NCAR is at the forefront of weather science, powering hurricane forecasts, wildfire models, and severe storm warnings. UCAR, the nonprofit that manages the lab, sued the federal government in March, arguing the feds skipped required legal steps when they tried to move some resources to Wyoming. In court, UCAR's lawyers argued the dismantling of NCAR is tied to President Trump's campaign to punish Colorado for refusing to release Tina Peters from prison and the state's mail-in voting system. The Department of Justice argued there was no final decision on transferring the supercomputers. Not required processes could have been skipped. The judge has not yet issued a written decision. The White House says it's close to a deal to end the war. They're waiting for Iranian leadership to respond to its peace proposal.
Reportedly, it's one-page, 14-point document, and a senior member of Iran's parliament called it an American wish list. This comes as fights continue to break out in the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. Central Command said an American fighter jet attacked an Iranian oil tanker in the Gulf of Oman after it ignored warnings and tried to bypass the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports. And while the Pentagon has yet to confirm it, Iran claims it downed a U.S. drone. The U.S. is now pushing for the UN Security Council to pass a resolution condemning Iran for controlling the Strait of Hormuz. Meantime, a major shipping and logistics company says the global disruption in the industry will likely result in passing costs on to customers.
We're looking at an extra cost bill of $500 million a month that we're going to face basically from April and for as long as this lasts. Obviously, this is a significant amount. And there is something that we can do on cost mitigation, which we will do, but the rest of it is really a commercial conversations with customers about having to pass this cost on, because otherwise this is completely unsustainable for us.
The Danish company currently has more than 60 ships stranded in the Persian Gulf.
And we are continuing to feel the impacts of the war at the pump. AAA says regular gas is averaging $4.56 a gallon. That's still shy of the record $5.01. State lawmakers in California held a hearing yesterday about the situation, where experts warned if the price of oil continues to rise, it could create a crisis.
certainly see the price of crude oil going up another $40 or $80 a barrel if we really went 60 more days. And I use those two numbers because they translate to another $1 or $2 per gallon. I don't think that's implausible at all. Unfortunately, I think that would be a crisis.
According to an NPR PBS News poll, 8 in 10 Americans say filling up is already putting a strain on their household budget, and 63% of people surveyed place most of the blame for higher gas prices on President Trump.